Chapter 1. The Sea Bull and the King's Pride. Long ago, on the sunlit island of Crete, a mighty king ruled from a grand palace that stretched like a golden crown across the land. His name was Minos, and his pride was known far and wide. The Palace of Knossos, with its painted halls and endless rooms, was said to be a gift of the gods. But even gifts from the heavens can become prisons of ambition. To prove that he ruled by divine right, King Minos once stood before the sea and called out to Poseidon, god of the oceans. "If you favor me," Minos declared, "send me a sign, a creature no man has seen before." The waves churned and the sea foamed white. From the depths rose a bull so pure, so gleaming with power, it seemed made of starlight and spray. Its hooves struck the sand like thunder. The people of Crete fell to their knees, for surely this was a creature of the gods. Minos had promised to sacrifice the bull in honor of Poseidon, but as he looked into its fierce and noble eyes, his heart turned. "This beast is too perfect to lose," he thought, and so he hid the sea bull among his own herds and offered a lesser animal instead. But the gods see all. Poseidon's rage did not strike like a bolt of lightning. It moved quietly, like a shadow spreading through the heart of a house. He whispered to the wind, to the dreams of Minos' queen, Pasiphaë. A strange longing grew in her, one that would soon bring horror to the palace. Minos, blind with pride, saw only his wealth and power growing. He did not see the curse taking root beneath his roof. In defying a god, he had opened a door he could not close. Chapter 2. The Curse of Pasiphaë. Queen Pasiphaë, once known for her beauty and wisdom, began to change. She wandered the palace gardens at night, speaking to shadows. Her eyes, once calm and clear, now shimmered with wildness. Servants whispered of strange prayers and hidden rituals. Poseidon's curse had taken hold. In secret, Pasiphaë sought help from Daedalus, the famed inventor from Athens who now lived in Crete. She begged him to build her a device, something unnatural, something shameful. Daedalus, bound by no ordinary rules, agreed. What he crafted was a hollow wooden cow, covered in real hide. No one dared question what the queen did with it, or why she disappeared into the fields where the sea bull grazed. But soon Pasiphaë grew heavy with child, and a terrible whisper spread across the island. She gave birth to a creature not of this world, a monstrous child with the body of a man and the head of a bull. The creature roared from the moment it entered the world, shaking the palace walls. Minos was struck with horror. This was the price of his arrogance, his broken promise to the gods. He could not bear to kill the creature, for it was still his wife's child. Nor could he allow it to live among men, so he summoned Daedalus once more. "Build me a prison," he said, "one that no one can escape, not even the monster." And Daedalus, with genius in his hands and sorrow in his heart, began to dream of the Labyrinth. Chapter 3. Daedalus and the Labyrinth. Daedalus, the inventor without equal, stood in the shadow of King Minos' command. He had built flying machines and walking statues, yet now he was asked to do something darker. Craft a prison so intricate that even the creature within would never escape. He descended into the bedrock beneath the Palace of Knossos, torch in hand. He studied the stone, the air, the silence. And then with chalk and string and endless patience, he began to design. What he created was not just a maze. It was a living nightmare of corridors, spiraling paths, and shifting walls that echoed footsteps long after they had passed. The labyrinth was a kingdom of confusion. It twisted back upon itself. No landmarks, no sky, no sense of direction. It was designed not only to trap a creature, but to crush the spirit of anyone who dared enter. When the work was done, Daedalus walked the paths himself, thread in hand, testing every twist and dead end. Only he knew the way out. The Minotaur was led into the heart of the maze. It fought, bellowed, and clawed at the stone. But once the gates were sealed, only silence returned. The monster disappeared into the endless dark. King Minos stood above the entrance and felt both triumph and shame. The beast was hidden, yes, but not gone. And though he had locked it away, it still belonged to him. Daedalus, his task complete, returned to his workshop, yet he had created something too perfect. Minos grew fearful that the craftsman might reveal the secrets of the labyrinth, and so even the builder of the maze would one day become its prisoner. But that tale too was yet to unfold, for now the labyrinth waited, and within, the Minotaur dreamed of blood. Chapter 4. The Tribute of Athens. Years passed, but the curse of the Minotaur did not fade. Deep within the labyrinth, the beast lived, fed only with the flesh of the doomed, and soon its hunger grew too great to be ignored. Across the sea in the proud city of Athens, the shadow of Crete loomed large. Once the two cities had been equals, but after the death of Minos' son Aegeus, killed during games in Athens, King Minos sailed forth with his fleet and demanded justice. His wrath was unrelenting. Athens, defeated and broken, was forced into a cruel pact. Every 9 years, 7 young men and 7 young women, chosen by lot, were sent across the sea to Crete. They were offered as tribute, not to the king, but to the labyrinth, to the monster. The people of Athens mourned each selection like a death. Families wept, lovers said goodbye, and the chosen wore white robes as they boarded the black sailed ship bound for Knossos. On the third cycle of this terrible tribute, one volunteer stepped forward. Prince Theseus, son of King Aegeus. Brave and unbending, he stood before his father and said, "No more. I will go to Crete not as a sacrifice, but as a slayer. I will kill the Minotaur and end this curse." Aegeus tried to stop him, but Theseus would not be swayed. As the ship prepared to sail, his father gave him one final instruction. "If you return victorious, raise white sails. If not, the black will tell me all." And so Theseus sailed with the others, the dark sails billowing like the wings of a raven, toward a fate woven by gods and monsters. Knossos awaited. Chapter 5. Theseus and Ariadne. When Theseus arrived in Crete, he hid his fury behind calm eyes. The other Athenian youths, though noble, looked to him as their protector. They were dressed in ceremonial robes, symbols of peace, but in Theseus's heart, war stirred. The people of Knossos gathered in the square to witness the arrival of the tributes. King Minos, seated high upon his throne, watched them with cold indifference. But another pair of eyes lingered longer, those of Ariadne, daughter of the king. She was more than a princess. Ariadne was clever, curious, and full of a quiet rebellion that pulsed beneath her royal duties. When she saw Theseus, something awakened. His defiance, his strength, his sorrow. They stirred something within her heart. Later, in the moonlit gardens of the palace, Ariadne approached him. "You mean to kill the beast, don't you?" she whispered. Theseus nodded. "I will not let it take another life." Torn between loyalty to her father and her growing love for the brave prince, Ariadne made her choice. She led Theseus through hidden halls, down to the secret workshop of Daedalus, where the great inventor had once kept his designs. There she handed him a sword and a spool of thread. "Take this," she said. "Tie it to the entrance when you go in. Unravel it behind you as you walk. It is the only way you will find your way back." Theseus took her hand and met her gaze. "Why help me?" "Because I believe in you, and because the monster was born from our sins, but it should not decide our future." At dawn, he descended into the labyrinth. The air was cold, thick with silence. Stone walls loomed on every side, stretching into darkness. He tied the thread and stepped forward, blade in hand. Somewhere deep within, the Minotaur stirred. The battle would soon begin. Chapter 6. The Slaying of the Minotaur. The labyrinth breathed with darkness. Theseus walked with silent steps, the thread unraveling behind him like a lifeline. Every footstep echoed against stone. Every breath he took seemed too loud. He knew the beast was near. Time lost meaning in the twisting maze. Left, right, forward, back. The corridors blended into one endless spiral. At times he heard scraping, claws on stone, or a deep, guttural growl that trembled through the walls. And then, in a vast chamber lit only by shafts of moonlight from unseen cracks above, he saw it. The Minotaur. It stood taller than any man, muscles coiled like ropes beneath its hide. Its eyes glowed with animal fury, and its horns gleamed like knives. For a moment they stared at each other, man and monster, blood and destiny. Then the beast charged. Theseus rolled aside, barely dodging the crushing blow of its horns. He slashed with his sword, drawing a line of red across its shoulder. The Minotaur bellowed in rage, swinging its massive arms. The battle raged across the chamber, stone cracking beneath their struggle. Theseus ducked, leapt, struck again. The sword flashed silver in the dark. Finally, with a roar that shook the bones of the maze, he drove the blade deep into the beast's heart. The Minotaur stumbled, gasped, and fell. For a long moment, silence. Then Theseus stepped back, chest heaving, staring down at the monster. It was done. He followed the thread, winding back through the labyrinth's veins, each step a step toward freedom. At last, the light of dawn greeted him. Ariadne waited. Without a word, she took his hand. They left Crete behind. The curse had ended, but a new tale was just beginning. Chapter 7. The White Sails. Theseus and Ariadne fled across the sea, sailing toward Athens under a sky lit by stars. But the gods were not done with them yet. On the island of Knossos, Theseus woke to find Ariadne gone. Some say the gods took her, claiming her for Dionysus. Others say he left her, fearing the wrath of King Minos. Whatever the truth, Theseus sailed on, alone. But in his sorrow, he forgot his father's words. He forgot to change the sails. Black they remained when the ship crested the horizon and Athens came into view. King Aegeus stood on the cliffs, watching. When he saw the black sails, grief shattered his heart. Believing his son dead, he cast himself into the sea. The waves took him, and the sea that bears his name, Aegean, remembers still. Theseus returned a hero, but with heavy steps. He had slain the monster, broken the curse, and brought hope back to Athens. Yet loss had marked him forever. So ends the tale of the Labyrinth and the Palace of Knossos, a story of pride and punishment, of love and sacrifice, of threads that lead us through darkness into light.